What's going on, everybody? Welcome to an open studio live painting session. So that means that this is a commissioned painting. I decided to do this on Thursday today because I actually started this in acrylic. Some of you may remember what I showed you yesterday. I actually started this before and my light fell on top of the painting and it put a hole in the painting. So I had to start over from scratch. That was fun. So I started it last night after the stream, and since it's acrylic, it's already dry, it's good to go. I'm gonna talk to you about studio work as a professional portrait painter, what you should be doing, what you should have based on my opinions. So first of all, you should have a like a steady client base. So I don't really have that steady of a client base, but that's my own fault. But anyway, I got this commission from a fellow painter at the Billiard Academy that I go to in Alexandria, Virginia. And he really wanted a painting of himself playing pool. So we took the pictures, and I went ahead and cropped the picture in the same proportion as the canvas. So the canvas is an 18 by 24. So I cropped it at a 3 by 4 square on my phone. So I cropped it at a 3 by 4 square to give me an idea of where everything is going to be placed. Then I went and started drawing where the center of everything is going to go. So basically, the head being almost centered but slightly that way. I actually had to move it a couple times out that way, and I ended up having to move the cue as well. So that was kind of a challenge. So I always say that you can start. Hey Grace, welcome. I always say that you can start with acrylic and then add oil paint onto it. So that's what we're going to do here. But just make sure to run your hands around the painting and make sure that everything is thoroughly dry. So I'm going to just work on the face today, and it's probably not going to be the full 3 hours, but I just want to talk a little bit about this concept of commission paintings, or just doing paintings as a as a career artist, as opposed to just an instructional thing for you. So palette is important. Your materials are important. This is an everyday working artist setup here. Just keep your brushes in the linseed oil so you don't have to clean anything. And the palette is just big enough that it'll fit in my container that goes into the freezer. And it's just plexiglass. As you see here, it's just plexiglass with a sheet of gray paper underneath. So I lined up the camera, see if I can put this back where it's supposed to be. I lined up the camera here so you can see my mixtures as I go. Tomorrow we'll do the same stuff that you're used to. We'll start and finish a painting from scratch, most likely using pastel. But I just thought for today, this would be kind of interesting for at least somebody. Now, the reference I'm not going to put on the screen just because I think it'll just be a little strange with the palette. Like everything just doesn't quite fit. Plus, this isn't a painting that I want you to recreate. This is just us hanging out, like I call it. I called it an open studio live session. Hey T, welcome. Thanks for watching. So let's get started here. I'm going to paint basically piece by piece, and I'm going to start off by mixing, let's start off with 2 brushes here. And I'm going to start off by mixing a string of value ranging from light to dark. And when you're working on a realist painting, you don't need a huge amount of space on the palette. Say basically almost the length of one of your brushes to have a string, and a little bit underneath here for some of the background. But that's about it. You don't need that much. So I'll show you what I mean by a string. The setup with the colors is really simple. It's white. This is a light yellow, yellow ochre, cadmium red, alizarin permanent, raw umber, and black. So pretty much the same, the exact same palette that you saw me use yesterday in the painting demonstration. So I mix all the way up to, let's just say this is the middle. And now I'm going to switch brushes here to mix the lighter skin tones. I'm going to use Neo McGilp Medium because it's a moderate to fast dryer. I want my initial layers to be a little bit faster drying than the other layers. This painting will probably only have at most 3 layers of oil paint per section. That's the way I've planned out this commission, is so that it's more streamlined. I pretty much blocked in everything I needed with the acrylic, and then I set it up such that I can just go right into working piece by piece with the oil paint. So now you see my little string of value with the light, the middle, the dark. Now we can go ahead and start to work piece by piece. So I'm going to start off with the edge of the forehead here. Now you could use, let me just hold the paper there. You could use a glaze over top of the acrylic if you want to. I rather just paint with the almost like a loaded brush, but not adding too much paint right at once. This was too warm, so I'm cooling it down. By the way, anyone that watches Netflix, the new season of The Walking Dead came out, or it's called The Ones Who Live. No spoilers, I just started it. So don't spoil anything for me in case you're a Walking Dead fan. Pretty cool. I made it through the first episode. Like I said, this is just going to be a chill open studio. Go ahead and get your canvases out. Paint along with me, or if you're doing chores around the house, just focus on just hanging out, doing whatever it is that you're doing over there. Alright, so with the form modeling on the forehead, it's pretty much like a Rembrandt. I'm treating it like a Rembrandt. My buddy here, Trey, the guy that is commissioning this painting, is a really good pool player and a very humble guy. And it took him quite a while to ask me formally to paint this commission for him. So I'm gonna try to do the best that I can with it. And starting out this way piece by piece is a tad bit easier to get the form to turn like this. Getting his forehead to have some planes. I know this is not the most exciting live stream for many of you, so if you're wondering about the usual content, we're gonna do the pastel tomorrow, so don't worry. I found that the watercolor was kind of a bust. Like my YouTube analytics basically is kind of telling me not to do it. None of them worked out really well. Same thing happened with the acrylic live streams. So I'm just kind of here painting You're free to ask any questions that you like. Also, I do want to have more commissions like this, though I know these videos are not popular for you on YouTube, but at least you get to see somewhat of what you would expect from commissioning a painting from me. The focus with this one is on the realism. Whereas with the demos, it's more about just kind of that free-flowing, kind of just anything goes kind of painting. And when you have a composition like this, you really have to pay attention to where the center of your composition is, because everything depends on the center, what you center on the canvas. This is an 18 by 24. The hands, of course, are the one, the bridge hand that's holding the cue. It's really important to have it placed properly relative to the position of his head. These are things from pool that kind of translate to painting. Thinking about perspective and alignment of shapes. More of the Neo McGilp. So what's everybody working on today? Just let me know if you like these this kind of behind the scenes in the studio kind of video. If you don't, you can also let me know. I didn't have to stream this, but I do 100% want to continue pastel and oil paint. So that's Wednesday and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday, those were kind of up in the air with what I was going to do. The acrylic just didn't quite catch on, neither did the watercolor, and it was more of a struggle than it should have been. But this is what acrylic is useful for, I would say, to have a solid foundation for an oil painting. Hey, Mark L. So feel free to let me know what you think. If you don't like this stream, we don't gotta do it. 2 oil paintings in a row, starting it like from start to finish, it might be a little bit too much I think. So I figured Thursdays may be just something a little bit different. I also want to start doing more studio paintings. Oddly enough, I'm more comfortable painting when we're on YouTube. I don't know why, but I'm just more comfortable that way. It's just been so much time doing YouTube streams that it's just more comfortable for me. Now painting wet onto dry. So wet oil paint onto dry acrylic is just like painting onto a gessoed canvas that was prepared with acrylic paint. Not really that different. It is a little more slick than the gesso, but the paint kind of latches onto the acrylic layer pretty easily. Oh, thanks, Markel. This is it's slick. So if anyone that doesn't know, the difference between gesso, like acrylic gesso that's used in pretty much 99% of canvases, the difference between acrylic gesso and just acrylic paint in general is the grit. There's a certain grittiness to the gesso. Obviously there's other differences like the binders in them, but the biggest one is the grit. That's why you don't want to just gesso with acrylic paint instead of using acrylic gesso. This is a pre-stretched canvas that I bought after my light fixture fell on top of my other one, my other canvas. There's a little more pressure on a commission than what I was doing yesterday, where anything goes kind of feeling. But you still want to maintain that freedom, even when you work on a commission. The way to do that is to do as much as you can drawing wise in the beginning, because any kind of drawing corrections later on in the painting are going to be extremely painful. So once you get those big drawing decisions out of the way, like I said, I had to move the head a couple of times before placing it down properly. Once you get that out of the way, it's just kind of the feel of each little layer of oil paint, each little section here. You know, it's still fun to do. Like, yes, this is, you know, someone's paying me to do this painting, but I'm gonna still maintain the mindset that, you know, you sacrifice a little bit, right? A little bit of just throwing paint around, but you still have fun with the application of paint, the paint handling itself, the mixing, the massing in of the values. All of that's still fun. It just has a tad bit more pressure. Now, if you've had a commission before, especially your very first commission. I don't know if you remember your very first commission or if you haven't had it yet. It's a really strange feeling where you almost don't even know how to start. And you have to rely on your training, how you paint, just by having fun. And add in more drawing. The difference between a commission and just painting for fun is the drawing. That's the biggest difference, I would say. There's more drawing involved in a commission, or at least there should be more drawing involved in a commission. Whether you draw with oil paint, with acrylic, with charcoal, with just lines, or with values. And if you haven't started with acrylic before, consider it. It's actually a really efficient way to start. Of course, if you don't have experience with acrylic, then do some acrylic paintings first. So you learn the limitations of acrylic. Don't try to end up doing the whole thing with acrylic, though that can be tempting. Use acrylic for what it's useful for, which is the underpainting, stating the masses. So I can cool down my mixtures with using black and yellow, which of course creates a green. Cheekbone and it's going to get slightly darker underneath. Now the eyes are picking up a little more light that's reflecting off the table. The white of the eyes, black and white, a little bit of skin tone. Oh no, I would much rather be standing, but I'm sitting to paint this. It's just because of the space in the apartment. This easel doesn't even go up tall enough. As it's sitting on a table. Definitely good question there. If you can stand and paint, that would be best. Now, of course, the white of the eye shouldn't get too light. So that's almost too light. Absolutely, definitely stand if you can. but I don't have the setup to stand and paint currently. But luckily I'm looking at my streaming setup, so it helps me see the painting from a distance, see if I'm making any huge mistakes. Well, plexiglass is a really nice material for a palette. Of course, it's not as nice as using the wooden palette, but it's more practical. And for commissions, you want something more practical. Nelson Shanks, my favorite painter of all time, he would pretty much just leave his paints on his palette and it would just dry and it would look really cool. But that's an enormous waste of paint. This can stay in a container in the freezer and preserve the paint. Now, if you have any stories about any commissions in the past, feel free to share them if you would like to. I have had some good experiences, some bad ones, but at the Billiard Academy, it's all been good experiences. I did a pretty big one last year. I didn't share it on YouTube because I was painting from a picture that I did not take, so I didn't want to get in any kind of trouble for using that picture by sharing it on the internet. Of course, I'm not sharing the picture I used for this, but it's close enough that if it was a picture someone else took, I would be in trouble. I didn't take this picture. Wait, no, I did take this picture. What am I talking about? I showed it to you on my phone. I took this picture. But the one that I did last year, I didn't take the picture. So these were a couple of the options as we were preparing to get the right perspective, basically. So it took a couple tries till I got the picture that both of us agreed on. I did say I would do a tutorial with the watercolor. The watercolor it didn't work out too well last week. That one portrait that I did, I ended up redoing it in pastel. So it's still gonna take me more time to get better at it. I don't want to just upload a video for you just for the sake of uploading a video. I want to upload a video showing you how to really work with watercolor, but at this point it doesn't look like I really know that much, unfortunately. Still some struggles with it. I think a lot about Rembrandt when I'm painting forms like this, regardless of the fact that it's from a picture. I really think a lot about what Rembrandt forms look like. It is a shame that most of the old master paintings don't have quite a nice variety of skin complexions. You know, I like to be able to incorporate all types of skin complexions in my paintings. So this will be the closest to a Rembrandt looking painting of a pool player that you'll see on the internet. See how I'm very methodical about how I get these soft transitions. Your transitions in your oil painting can be even more dimensional than a photograph, even more dimensional than an AI generated image. This light yellow is a nickel yellow. It's very close to lead tin yellow. So another old master type color. It's a lemony type yellow. Well, he's definitely won some tournaments, so yeah, I'm sure he's had third place, but he's definitely won his fair share of tournaments. Yeah, that's a good one. Appreciate all the likes, everyone, even though I know this is not typically not what you want to see from me. Color variation on the hair. Yes, the jump shot is legal depending on what rules you use. For example, if you're playing more like the beginner leagues, like APA, then they don't let people jump, mainly because beginners, there's this hypothesis that beginners are gonna rip a hole through the cloth, which is most likely not going to happen, but it's legal in the US APL, which is what I play. I did actually join APA with Lucy for Friday nights. So right after Pastel, I'll be going to League with Lucy. It's pretty funny not being able to jump, not being able to do a jump shot. You can't even do a mass A shot, like a curve. Basically any shot where you elevate your shoulder or your elbow above your shoulder is not allowed. I think APA is just silly, if you ask me. It's fun though. It's a fun silly. Well, thanks, Lisa. You know, YouTube being the way that it is, everyone, it's a struggle. Like, the algorithm is just not favoring me very much these days. So I will be trying as much as I can to get more commissions to try to make ends meet. And I enjoy painting anyway, so I will if I don't live stream these, you'll at least see them on Instagram if I have permission to post them. 1 foot off the floor. Yes, you can have 1 foot off the floor, but not 2. And I think that's for all of pool. Because I mean, if you can't lift a foot off the floor, a lot of us won't be able to make half of the shots on the table. Because we're not that. At least I'm not that tall. Trey is much taller than I am. Well, thanks, Grace. I'm glad you liked the process, the oil paint over top of the acrylic. And it dries, the oil paint dries faster if you don't put a layer of medium over top of it. If you just paint with just the oil paint, and this is the same paint from yesterday, so it's already kind of in between drying. So it starts to dry faster on its own. This is a textbook studio painter's guide to painting every day, making money, painting, basically the professional life, not so much just, you know, doing demos all day. Like, this is you seeing Yupari in a professional painter's environment, not so much only commissions. And this is my goal for everyone, to be able to do this. Yeah, exactly. So Frodo can't play pool. Probably not. Of course, there's always exceptions. I'm sure Frodo could stand on something. Some color variations. We're gonna push some cooler notes here. Even these little curls in his hair, these are waves that his hairdresser barbershop did. I need to be able to paint in almost every single wave that I can. Remember, the focus is on realism with this one. And I plan for it to take at most three layers. They should be dry enough to rework in 2 days. So about a week of painting is what this will take. Oh, a self-portrait with my paint tools and a cue stick. That's possible. That's possible. Though I can't commission myself to do a painting, so I'd have to make it somewhat profitable for myself. Maybe do that for a competition painting. With all my art equipment and a cue stick. It's a good idea. There you see the canvas is quite slick. There's a lot of use with this nickel yellow, lead tin yellow substitute. This is a very classical palette, hence the Rembrandt references. This is that classic serious look. The classic why so serious look you'll see in a very strong pool player. You can see his eyes laser focused on the cue ball. Or actually he's looking at you can tell he's actually not looking at the cue ball, he's looking at the object ball, which is way out there. Outside of the composition. Thanks for all the likes, everyone. I'm surprised I made it to 20 likes. We made it to 20 likes with like a non-conventional live stream. We got a surprising number of likes. Oh, thank you. We've got more likes than we have people attending. That's interesting. I wonder how that happened. But I appreciate it. So the way this works is I go over every single pass multiple times, painting wet into wet. When you paint the oil paint over the acrylic and you paint wet into dry, the fact that it's a little bit grippier than painting wet into wet, but still a little bit more slick than painting wet onto dry on a gessoed canvas, it gives you a great deal of control. So that's what's gonna make this a very, very realistic painting. Obviously today all we're gonna probably focus on is the face. We might work on the hand since you can see it still. But he's definitely gonna do better than third place in the tournament. So what happens is when you expand on the realism like this, you add multiple little value changes amongst your already simplified groups of values, and most of it is done through edges. This is the kind of realism you probably won't see in a 3-hour live stream because it would take me longer than 3 hours to do this. Now that is a very realistic forehead. It has the forms. In my opinion, it's got the Rembrandt type forms. Now we're gonna get all these little waves in the hair. Really take our time with it. Whoops, wrong brush. So here I'm going to be using the two brushes to mix with one another to create the illusion of the waves in his hair. He was very specific about his hair. We were gonna set up a painting of him many times before, but he wanted his hair to be freshly cut. So each little curl I'm gonna pay as much attention to as I can. And this is upon request of the client. You need to listen to your clients, what they want. Ask them what they're interested in, right? Like, just talk to them a little bit. You get to know what it is you got to do. But it's definitely one of those feelings, though, when you're doing a commission, and you feel like Sargent. You feel like Rubens or one of, like, it's a surreal feeling. It's like what you've been wanting to do all your life. You get the chance to do it. And I don't care if I'm painting a senator. I don't care if I'm painting a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever. Just being able to do a painting commission where somebody appreciates what you do enough to be able to pay you to do it is one of the greatest things in the world. It pressures you to go that much further than you normally would in just like a regular studio painting. There we have all those curls. The hair is a different hue. It's a cooler hue all throughout than the skin tone. But they're close. They can't be too close. Then it's gonna look like he's bald, which he's not. So any ideas what you want me to paint in pastel tomorrow? Are we gonna just do another portrait? What are we gonna do? What would you like me to paint? You have to raise the light sensitivity soon. You can already see the sun starting to set. The black and yellow create the green that I need for this type of reflection. It's very tempting to put this same color that's being reflected into your painting. So for example, this blue, just use the same blue up there. That would not work. But it's tempting to do that. Now the middle brush will just be my smaller brush. Different color palette than yesterday. No, it's the same one. You mean for tomorrow? Tomorrow is supposed to be pastel. Oh, thanks, Giselle. Doing a self-portrait. I could do another self-portrait. Although that tends to scare people away. Seeing my face tends to scare people. We could set up a self-portrait. First self-portrait of the new year. That's a possibility. First self-portrait of the new year. All right. A little bit of light on the upper lip. I am hoping, as much as possible, I'm going to do the best job I can with this and use it to market further commissions. So this is the ideal kind of setup for a commission. Light and shadow. Light and shadow is quite obvious, even though there's shoulder and there's hands and stuff in there. It's not an easy composition. This is the kind of stuff I want to do. Oh, thanks, Grace. You paint for expensive haircut. Yeah, they're expensive, for sure. For sure. Which is why I didn't have a haircut for the last 3 years. But yes, more commissions so we can afford more haircuts. Let's do that. Speaking of commission, I think it's really important to have a process that's streamlined enough to create the best results that you can in the shortest period of time. You don't want to take on commissions if it takes you more than a week to finish a painting. Within reason. If it's a head, shoulder, hands, background, a week is fine, 2 weeks is fine, but if it takes you more than that to paint a head and shoulders and maybe 1 or 2 still life elements in a composition, it's time to revisit your strategy with how you paint. Oh, thanks, Giselle. I didn't even know it's been an hour already. Oh, I don't pay attention to these things. Yeah, it's just layer 1 of potentially 3 for the face, but no more than that. No more than that. Remember, your client is not paying only for the time you spend on a painting. This is very important, everybody. Listen to this. Your client is not only paying for the time you're spending on the canvas. Your client is also paying for the years of experience that you have per brush stroke that you add to your painting. Remember that. It's really important for you to remember that. For example, you do not, and I'm going back to this because it's very important, you do not want to end up spending more time than you need to on your commissions. You should have a streamlined process that gets the job done in a reasonable time period and creates the best results that you could create, that you could put your name on. But also be very, workflow. Yeah, that kind of stuff. See, I'm not good at those kind of words. So, what was I going to get at? Oh, also, the resolve, the finish that you want, the type of finish that you want on your painting. Also, be aware that if it's too photographic, you're going to appeal to a certain clientele that's going to want you to recreate photographs. And if that's the case, then do that. If you, again, a streamlined process, a good workflow, do it. You can definitely make a pretty decent money with your painting that way. This is what you're striving for when you're doing all of your portrait studies. Obviously, the goal for me is to spend more time doing this than even playing pool. Yes, there's a lot of money to be made in tournaments, and yes, I know I'll make some money in tournaments, but this is way, I hate to say it, but this is way more fun for me. Way more fun in the sense that there's just more peace. I don't have to worry about music blasting in the background at some random pool hall, waiting 3 hours for my next opponent. No, I trust Trey. This is another thing. He's not charging, I'm not charging over 1,000 for this. Let's just say that. It's not over 1,000. But if you're charging over 1,000, then you definitely want to get some money up front before you start. So, no, I trust him enough to know that he'll definitely pay what we said he would pay once he gets the painting. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust the light. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, you can see that the sun is already set. So let's do that now. Here's a perfect example of how acrylic will never get as dark as oil paint, especially oil paint with medium on it. This says Neo McGill medium. Let me adjust the light for you. No, I've never had that. I don't think I've had that happen to me. Where I spend days and they don't pay. No, I've had one client that, and it was a commission online where they just didn't like the look of it. They also were quite emotional. It was a painting of their son that had just passed away from the pandemic, like just recently. So I just refunded them. And they had paid before I started the painting, but I had to refund them because they were just not like, I just couldn't really work with them. And it's understandable, they had gone through a really big loss, so I mean, it's not understandable. I can't understand how they felt, but I wouldn't hold it against them. Oh yeah, by the way, be careful with those commissions. Anytime you paint a especially like a recently deceased family member, somebody commissions you to paint that, be very, very cautious with those commissions, because sometimes they just won't work. The client will just, nothing will be good enough, and they're probably right. Nothing will be good enough. You know, you can't bring joy to someone with art that's going through that kind of loss. Not even Bugaro could do that. Well, thanks, William. Yeah, I'm not going to take the usual break that I do every hour just because this is not going to, you know, I'm not going to paint the whole 3 hours for this. I'm going to paint until the face is good enough to let dry for the next layer. Again, thanks for all the likes, everyone. I'm surprised that so many people like this stream. We've got more people here than we had when I was doing the the watercolor demo. So probably we'll do some more of these. We'll probably do some more. I may have a second commission from the Academy. I gotta confirm with the guy, but might have a second one. So we'll be in commission land, which is exactly where we want to be. Oh, right, the trade secrets of, let's see. After painting for a while, can you estimate how long it takes for you to finish your painting? Oh yeah, I know, I could tell right away. I can tell that it will take me 3 full work days. So that's 24 hours, 8, 16, 24. Yeah, 24 hours to finish in 1824. So 3 full work days to do that. And of course, depending on the client, people always want you to adjust the mouth, adjust the smile, make them look younger. Which, by the way, be careful with smile lines. The creases on the forehead, there's nothing you can do because I have the same creases on my forehead when I'm playing pool. There's really nothing you can do about that. Even a 15-year-old is going to have creases on their forehead when they're playing pool while they're making a shot, like lining up for a shot. Yeah, about 24 hours. It might take me even less with this one because the background there's not so much going on in the background. But these are the trade secrets. Be careful with smile lines, the color of the hair. With men, be very careful with their hairlines. I'm making sure that hairline is sharp. If you soften the male hairline, they're gonna get really self-conscious about that. So be careful with that. Just like I guess like certain clients will be very self-conscious about the smile line. Be conscientious about that. Oh, thank you, Giselle. 1824, 24 hours. I would say about, you're right, it is a little bit fast. But, I'm trying to set up a portrait business. So, in order for me to stay in business, I can't, there's the Walmart or there's a Kmart effect. Like, you have to continuously put out products at a reasonable price, at a reasonable rate, so that you don't become Kmart to someone's Walmart. You don't want to become the Kmart to someone's Walmart. This is absolutely where it pays to put in the time. It pays to have the right teachers. You don't want to be learning things during a commission if you can help it. Obviously, you're always going to learn, but a commission is not the time to learn about color variation or layering methods. No. That is not the time. Oh yeah, a portrait of a person with a heavily textured Versace shirt would take weeks. That's where you'd want to stencil it. I would say anything that has a texture, and maybe we'll get a commission like that someday. But you stencil that one. You want to stencil that for sure. I guess we're just gonna one brush it for now. I didn't trace for the outlines or anything like that with this because it's more straightforward. But if there was say some architecture behind him or something, say there was a Versace shirt, I would definitely use a stencil or trace it somehow. But thanks for all the likes and for everyone that's here. I'm pleasantly surprised. Some could say I'm lucky. I'm lucky. Hey, Jonas. Thanks for that comment, Giselle. Yeah, the projector, exactly. Especially for a Versace shirt. Depends on your patience level as well. If you got the patience to sit there and draw out every perspective line, then go right ahead. But that's more of a preference. Now, of course, his head is in perspective, so you're seeing more of his forehead uh, than below his eye line. Now, when you take pictures of people for commissions, if you're going to use your smartphone, that's totally fine. But what you want to do is be really far back and zoom in as much as you can. That will eliminate photographic distortion. There's not very much photographic distortion on this image. If there was, I'd have to retake it. But if you ever want a commission from me, now you see that I can do it in a timely manner. Now obviously I will use Gamvar picture varnish the week after, so total time will be 2 weeks for this. 1 week to paint it, let it dry, and another week to varnish it with Gamvar, and that's good to go. Frame it, hang it, on to the next one. And by 1 week, I mean, yeah, 3 full work days, and good to go. So I won't sit here and paint 8 hours straight. I'll work on something. This is why I said piece by piece. So I'll work on this, and I'll be very careful not to paint into anything around it. Even this, I'm going to take off and just let it be this part of the face. Here, let me show you how you take it off. And I'll tell you why to take it off. Thanks, Jonas. So just use paper towel, and with a circular type motion, take off anything that you oil painted around the face that you don't want to dry as thick as the face. This is to ensure proper drying time. Okay, so what I can do is just get the entire background, but I'm not going to, because I said this is going to be 2 layers, up to 3 layers. So when you do this, see how you take some of it off? What you've done is you made sure that this is going to dry a tad bit faster than this. This is not the primary focus of today's this current painting session. I could go and have dinner, come back, and then work on the shirt and just let it be the shirt. But this is how you streamline or do a workflow for your commission paintings. This is how you do it. This is the best, most convenient way that I've figured out over the years. I've had other methods in the past where I would use the classical approach in oil painting, and even that takes too long. Waiting for that underpainting to dry is a drag. So this is, to me, the best and most efficient way to create a painting with a a good finish and a decent amount of time. But I gotta say the face is almost there. The face is actually almost there. There's gonna be some bluish reflections that I'm gonna add later, but I don't want to do that in this sitting. So I don't want to finish the face in one layer of oil paint. And I'll let you in on why that is. So you don't want to finish the first layer, even though it's entirely possible. I could finish the face now. All I gotta do is just add the blue reflections from the table. I'm not gonna do that, and that's because texture. The oil painting looks that much better in person when you have a little more texture. All you need is more than one layer to texture a painting. You don't need to go full Rembrandt and go multiple layers of thick impasto paint. So in other words, you can full send it with a painting in terms of having a maximum beauty with your layers with just two layers. Think about it. Layers is plural. It just means one layer over the other. We've got this layer and it looks pretty good. The next is going to be kind of like a scratchy kind of glow of the blue, and that's how we're going to full send it with the oil painting. Fast, efficient, and we're open for more commissions. And maybe this is the stuff you've been wanting to hear all along. I don't know that. Let me know in the comments. So this is how you go beyond just the portrait study. This is how you go plus ultra as a portrait painter. Oh yeah. There's been many. I've seen many artists. Some of my teachers as well. Full charcoal drawing and paint over it. Yeah, that's fine as well. That's totally fine. And you could do that too. Just a little correction on the nose is not quite that pointy. All right. Lastly, make sure you don't let any sharp edges dry. Unintentional sharp edges. So I can see one right away that's too sharp. And probably at some point tonight or tomorrow, I'll do the same thing with the hand. There's going to be a couple of the billiard balls on the table as well, so maybe a session, probably just one session for the still life and it'll be done. But definitely multiple layers here, that's for sure. So you wrote, so with the face you don't want to get colors and edges accurate at the beginning stage. Oh, no, it's not that I don't want it to be accurate. I do want these colors to be accurate, but I'm opting to let the reflections be added later. That's a common thing, I guess. I could elaborate on that a little better. If you're gonna do multiple layers, paint the reflections in on the second layer, or anything but the first layer if you're going to do multiple layers. The reflections I will add next time. That's because the reflection is something extra, I guess. Like, I don't want to just let the blue mix in with the skin tone and just start to gray it out. If you're doing a portrait commission and there's no big reflections, you could paint to a finish if you want the first session, return the next session, and just remix the same type of skin tones, or even add a little bit of a pinkish color or something, just so that it looks almost like a stained glass, so that one sheet of paint is sitting over top of another. Don't think stillness. Yes, you want the layer underneath to show through. Exactly, that's what I mean. A one-time painting is just not going to have the same kind of look in person. On camera, it doesn't matter, but in person, it's not going to have the same look. So I could simply, if say there were no reflections, I could paint this to a finish, and then return to it the next day, and intentionally just remix each of these little lights here, and just make it look more aesthetically pleasing. So that's a tad bit more advanced than just telling you how to paint it, but now I'm telling you how to dress it up, basically, how to stylize it. You know, in the beginning, it's I don't know. I think about it kind of like I don't know, like a gymnast learns how to do a double backflip. Well, now try to learn how to do a double backflip and make it look cool, like depending on how you land or something like that. Even though I've never done a double backflip, and I'm not a gymnast, I could relate it to pool, right? Learn how to run the table, clear the table. But there's more than just clearing the table. You want to clear the table with very minimal effort. Make it look effortless. Don't just win the tournament. Win the tournament with ease. Things like that. More advanced kind of thinking. Yeah, definitely a process, to be sure. Absolutely. I know I can go into each little section and take it to pretty much a finish. Every single one of them. The clothing, one layer, take it to a finish, totally fine. Still life, one layer, take it to a finish, totally fine. Hands, one layer, take it to a finish, not good enough. You're going to want to have texture with the things that matter. Face, hands, the cue stick definitely is going to have multiple layers. And definitely let me know what you think about this type of video. I know it's not the usual, but I'm showing you something more towards the professional level. Oh, right, and the canvas, it doesn't, unless they specify what canvas that they want, I would stick with what you can afford. This is a cotton canvas, and I know that it'll do just fine. I tell you what, I've had better experiences with cotton canvases than I have had with linen, as much as I prefer linen. In many ways, I consider cotton to be superior to linen, especially over time. The linens, I don't know why, even the ones that are pre-stretched, they tend to get loose around the edges, especially the oil primed ones. That's not something I want for a commission painting, not at all. Hey, thanks Oling Al Design and Eileen, thanks for the comments. So the flesh is more fleshed out than surrounding areas. Yeah, definitely. Remember, this is more than just trying to make the best painting possible. This is about trying to make the best painting possible in the most reasonable amount of time with the best texture you can possibly create. And that varies depending on you. If you prefer a thick, heavy kind of thing, like a Van Gogh, then go for it. But very few clients are going to be okay with that. Just be aware of that. Yes, definitely. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, more of a 3D kind of look with more layers. And this is about as difficult as a pose as you could get. So just like a standard person sitting with their arms crossed or something like that is going to be much easier. The drawing for this was a challenge, and I'm glad that I did the drawing yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it? I don't remember. And then like I said, the light fixture fell and ripped a hole through it. Because at least I had drawn this out, and I had messed it up actually. The proportion of the head relative to the hand was incorrect on the one I did yesterday. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that that happened. Sometimes when life gives you lemons, you throw those lemons right back and ask for a refund. Other times, you take it as something positive. Now again, back to the hairline. This is more of an aesthetic thing. Gotta make it sharp, but still soft. Soften it on the edges there. You don't want it to be razor sharp everywhere, just where it counts. Yeah, I did actually. There was only the cue ball in the original picture, and Trey said he wanted the 3 ball. and the 5 ball, which of course are not, I haven't put any detail in for them yet. I like that you noticed that. I did do a commission a couple months ago, a pet portrait commission where I used only acrylic, and I did it in 2 days. I think it was only 4 hours of painting. So there's other methods to do it, but with the pet portrait, depending on the client, sometimes you get lucky and there's not as much detail. So if like the pet portrait is of a cat or a dog with only one color, no patterns, you can do it a lot faster. Well, yeah, I guess the composition could have been better, but I just tried to make sure that it was as close as possible to the picture that I took. Because the one thing I wanted more than anything is somewhere near the center of the canvas. So let's see where I centered it. Yeah, so somewhere near the center of the canvas is his vision center. So this is one of the things that I planned out. His vision center is just slightly off to the right. Slightly off to the right. That's one of the things that I planned out, which he actually doesn't know. I'll let him know, but he just wanted the head to be slightly off center. I think we're almost there to the point where we could say the face is kind of finished, minus the reflections that I want to add later. I guess what we can do, while we still have some time, I'll go till, I don't know, a little after 6. I will work on the other hand. The hand that's holding the cue stick. So I'm now going to let this merge down here. Alright, so this is the grip hand, so this is his right hand. And let me take a look at the relative position of it. It's right about here, the knuckle. This extends back here, perfectly lined up with his right eye. Now, you're not actually going to see too much of this hand, but it's important to paint it in there. It's slightly right from the original. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I tried to make it as close to the original, but I'm glad that it still worked out. So the grip hand, knuckle is over here, thumb is under there. For those of you that don't know, you hold the back of a pool cue loose, kind of like, I need my other hand for this. Typically hold it loose like this, like with 3 fingers basically. So what I'm painting is only this part of his hand. So thanks for all the likes. I'm pleasantly surprised that you're interested in this. Now remember that this hand is the same exact process as the face here. So that means that really there's only going to be 1 or 2 layers. This hand is probably only going to have 1 layer. And this is his shirt over here. The grip hand. So that's how simple and abstract the grip hand is. You don't really see much of it. Yes, the felt on the table is actually blue. It's oh, Trey just messaged me. No, just asking if this is gonna hang in the streetlights wall. I thought he was gonna take it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the table is blue. I think he was asking if I was gonna make 2 of them. Not gonna make 2 of them. I mean, I can, but didn't plan on it. Although he did mention, I think he mentioned he wanted it to hang in the academy. But I'll let you know the details later. You can see the part where the hand is, this part is folding over there. Eight ball in the corner pocket. Oh, you mean subconscious? Maybe. Yeah, I was fighting for some reason centering the head a little bit more. I kept moving it. So yeah, maybe subconsciously I did that. Okay. I guess we can add some more to the pool. We can paint the pool cue now. The grip here. So we'll add the texture for the pool cue, for the design. Could be hard to paint warmer lights, although this is technically kind of a cooler light. Oh, the felt looks green. Nah, this is kind of closer to how that really looks. It's probably just my camera. I think it's just my camera that's making it look that way. What's weird is that the walls, I didn't realize how thin the walls are in this apartment. I feel like I can almost hear a ghost whispering or something like that. Strange. It's like a phantom in the background. Cast shadow on the pool cue. Hey Rockflower62, welcome, welcome. Oh, thank you. We're having a party here, everyone. I didn't know so many people would be interested in this. Now we're putting in the design on the pool cue. He uses a one of those more expensive pool cues. It's not in the thousands, but I think it's about 1,000 or so. So it has some nice designs on it. Oh, with the warmer light? Oh, you mean the walls? Yeah, it's weird. It's like I can hear a ghost. Strange. You can definitely hear the fire trucks, I think. Doing their thing, keeping us all safe. So these are the designs on the pool cue. Yep, but feel free to ask any questions. Pleasantly surprised that everyone's here for this. we go, designs for the pool cue. Oh, the color of the felt. It is quite a bright. It is a bright blue. I will say. I could ask him if he wants me to dull it down. I can. But that would be up to him. Okay. Now it's 6 o'clock. Let's see here. We've been here for almost 2 hours. So pretty much the same time we painted yesterday. I think it was just under 2 hours. So I think that's pretty good. We've got the face mostly finished, really, except for some reflections from the blue table. We painted in the design of the pool cue, the grip hand, and the hand itself would probably take like another 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So we could just let it be at, hey, Felis and Whisper Bob Ross. Oh, yeah. I'll give you my best Bob Ross. My big poofy hair is gone. I don't have big poofy hair anymore. But we'll get this big old happy brush and beat the devil out of it. That's what Bob Ross would say. I wonder if Bob Ross ever had any commissions. I'm not sure. Not entirely sure. But in any case, I will put the brushes back in the jar like so, and I don't have to clean them. It's in linseed oil. This palette is so easy to clean. All you gotta do is just get your I would recommend using a palette knife, not so much a razor, just because it's plexiglass. And see how easy it is to clean this if you've never used a plexiglass palette. So this is the point where I'll ask if there are any last minute questions. Again, thank you so much for all the likes. Thanks for attending the stream. Please leave a comment if you liked the concept behind this stream. More like real life paintings in addition to the studies that we do. Let me know what you think. See how easy this is to clean? Sure, it leaves some little streaks, but that you can just clean with the paper towel.
Okay.
I was not talking to Siri. Well, thank you, Grace. Oling Owl Design. Lisa. Giselle. William. Mark L. Thanks everyone for attending. Tomorrow will be pastel. Super easy to clean. It's just with a palette knife. And thank you for that comment. But once again, as a studio artist, if your goal is to be able to paint every day, make some monies out of your paintings, make sure that you have a process that is repeatable, it is efficient, creates the one of the best looking images in the most reasonable amount of time. I think we called that a workflow. But also make sure that your materials are very low maintenance, like this. Very low maintenance. I do like the other materials, but oil painting, there's something about it, really, the texture of it, and I think clients typically tend to prefer that from me. Yep, more portrait commissions will be coming to a live stream near you, as well as if you're interested in portrait commissions from me, definitely let me know. We could work something out. Always remember the lighting is very important, making sure that there's a really strong light and shadow. So once again, tomorrow will be pastel. Thank you so much for attending the stream. I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you tomorrow.